Hello, Mrs. Solet's class. I'm so happy to be here today with you. It's Mr. Mahler. I've met all of you before, and I'm excited to be in your class again, even though I'm not necessarily with you. Today I'm going to talk about adverbs. So this is going to be a fun and exciting lesson. All of you are going to be involved in some way, and you will see familiar names throughout the lesson. Also, some funny um, pictures that include Mrs. Solak. So here we go. So, the definition of adverbs. Adverbs describe verbs. They can also describe adjectives and other adverbs. Today's lesson will focus on how adverbs describe verbs. So adverbs help to make verbs more interesting. Adverbs help to make verbs easier to understand. Example, Jomel reads. Jomel is the noun. Reads is the verb. Jomel reads quietly. Quietly is the adverb because quietly describes how Jomel reads. So, adverbs, how, where, when, and it's describing the verb. So here are just some examples of how, where, when. You can look at those on your own. So most adverbs answer the question how, and most of them end in ly, but not all words end in ly are adverbs. For example, silly, friendly, lonely, and bully aren't adverbs, but they still end in ly. But here's some examples of adverbs that do end in ly. Loudly, quietly, slowly, sadly, softly, so on and so forth. So here's another example. Maritza sings. How? Maritza sings beautifully. Beautifully is the adverb. When? Maritza sings today. Today is the adverb. Where? Maritza sings inside. Inside is the adverb. So all three of these adverbs are describing the word sings, which is the verb, the action word. Natalie dances. There's Mrs. Solak and Mr. Vang. How? Natalie dances gracefully. Gracefully describes how she dances. When? Natalie dances daily. Where? Natalie dances outside. So the underlying words are the adverbs. Mitsabella reads. How? Mitsabella reads silently. Silently is the adverb, describing how she reads. When? Mitsabella reads nightly. Nightly describes when she reads. Where? Mitsabella reads upstairs, describing what she reads. So here's how. Mrs. Solak's class listens attentively. How do they listen attentively? It's describing the action. Where? Mrs. Solak's class listens outside. So outside is the adverb. The adverb outside tells us where the class listens. So there's Mrs. Solak and Mr. Vang. When? Mrs. Solak's class listens every day. So every day is the adverb because it's describing when her class listens. How? Autumn rests peacefully. The adverb peacefully tells us how autumn rests. When? Autumn rests today. The adverb today tells us when autumn rests. Where? Autumn rests nearby her mom, aka Mrs. Solak. Adverbs describe the verb and tell us the how, when, and where of the verb. Mrs. Solak eats. How? Mrs. Solak eats gracefully. This is a great picture of Mrs. Solak. When? Mrs. Solak eats daily. Where? Mrs. Solak eats outside. So, that is all today. Thank you for having me in your class. I will see you soon.